Up at 5:30. This is a road note for posterity, for my grandkids. If the EMP doesn't go off and these electronic messages and videos still exist when my grandkids and my great-grandkids are around. I've got Tiger Balm in my mustache to help loosen up whatever's going on. Jerome, what time is it in Holland? I don't know how to ask what time it is. I just know what I learned off my learning Dutch tapes. Ik ben de leraar, ik heet Jan. Nederlands is gemakkelijk. Rekenen is moeilijk. It's been 27 years since I took a course in Nederlands. Levi, my dude, good to see you on here. 11:35 in the morning then, or is it PM? But last night I did a video and I was talking about the Red Bull wall ride jam in Venice Beach. And this morning, as I usually do, I started to have some other thoughts. I started questioning my take on it. And we're just letting these guys pass by. Tuesday. It's Tuesday here too. It's just like 5 or 6 hours behind you, maybe 7. I don't know. But I began to think this morning. I said, okay. Let's think about this. There is something remarkable about the Red Bull Juice Magazine input from Pat Noho, which I do find remarkable. And what I mean by remarkable is worthy of remark. And the thing, George, it's good to see you on here. So last night I did a video on the Red Bull thing, featuring and highlighting Pat Noho's take on it, which was basically that they had excised the history and failed to really give credit where credit's due to the first people to discover wall rides, and they failed to root the new generation of folks in anything more than kind of that hypey grab for really product endorsement and platforming their product on skateboarding's super awesome aesthetic. And Keith, end of shift. And I was remarking this morning at like how skateboarders as a group are highly traditional and remarkably get some sleep, brother. Highly traditional minded, very conservative minded people. They're very, like the first round of skaters are very, very attuned to credit. I'm not saying this in a negative way. They're very concerned and attuned to the importance of crediting the historic discovery of skateboarding. And I use the term discovery. I think invention is a term that puts us on a bad footing. I don't think that tricks were invented. I think they were discovered. Now, I know that I don't mean to detract from anyone, but Keith King, off work, been playing games all night. Sounds awesome. I played a game all night. The game was called You have some strange sickness ravaging your chest and head, and it's it's making you not sleep. I played a game called Hydrate, and avoid caffeine and hydrate. That's funny. Now I'm playing Seek Caffeine and Hydrate. I'll be loading the bike, and I'll be out of here probably around 7. It's a pretty grueling day. I didn't knock but 3.5 hours off my trip yesterday before I succumbed to this virus or whatever it is. And while I may have some folks who could host me in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, they have a trip coming up, and I told them yesterday that I wouldn't be able to come by because I thought I was going to burn a lot further than I did. I'm just going to do what I always have to do, which is, play it by ear, listen to my body. Don't be a tough guy, and but I might finish the whole thing by 10 o'clock tonight and be home, which would to me be absolutely wonderful. And I guess you guys will know because I've opted to go ahead and do these videos along this trip more than I've ever done before. I feel less and less like I'm losing a piece of myself when I do these. I'm really enjoying being with you folks, and I think that's been great. Welcome to the junkyard, David Muggsy Kluel. Nice to have you with me. So I was reflecting on last night's video of Pat Noho that surfaced by Juice Magazine. Great job, Juice Magazine, posting something that was critical, not in a bad way, but was curious and critical and questioned a status quo, made us think a little more about our corporate overlords. You hear those birds? It's a beautiful sound. I'm enjoying that. But I also, this morning, was thinking, boy, these skateboarders are a really traditional-minded group, like really tuned into giving credit where credit is due and staying attached to history. And I really like that. That's a good thing. Also, what's remarkable about it is how conservative, and I don't mean politically conservative, I mean socially conservative that is as an ethos. And you just would not think that skateboarders would get so grumpy when the heart and soul of our stuff is threatened. Of course, now that I say it, no, yeah, they would, and that is what is going on. Although the heart and soul of their thing hasn't been threatened, our thing, the still Cosa Nostra here, it's been completely gutted. I mean, we're in a season of skateboarding's history where, like, for perhaps 2 decades, our Thrasher magazine, heretofore referred to as our Bible. Jason Shannon Powers, great to have you tuning in from North Kansas City. Jason is a board maker in North Kansas City. He does creative Serenity, and Jason and I got to have a great time talking and just putting our heads together. And I really want Jason to connect with Never Was, since it's based, the brain trust of Never Was is largely based in Kansas City. So I was remarking this morning, I thought, what if we took a step back and took the counterpoint to what Pat Noho was saying, and we said, it doesn't matter who invented the wall ride, they're awesome, and what matters is we're doing them now. Took a more progressive view, and I think someone could rebut Pat's input and say, we've got a great thing here, it's fun to watch. Why do we need to bog it down in making sure that everybody gets their credit? How much of that is sheer ego and localism? Something that the California crew is well known for, the OG crew is well known for strong localism. And I'm not making a negative value judgment on some of the effects localism has. Localism helps to bring people in and keep them tight. The question isn't whether localism is bad, it's whether localism is based in ethics that are the most healthy. And that's completely subjective, by the way. What's not always subjective is how is localism enforced. And I've been in a whole bunch of places, and one of the scenes I've really enjoyed is Memphis, where you do have local crews. You've got crews coming in from across the border. Now Jerome is bringing up a great point here. He says, I think a lot of the old timers and OGs are bitter because they never made a dime on this stuff, and now others are cashing in. And wouldn't that be a bitter pill? Can we not find in our hearts a certain sympathy about that? They're not just bitter, they're also right. They should be reaping benefits of some sort for being the first ones doing it. That's just a good reasoning. It's not a reasoning that appeals to corporations, but it's a reasoning that appeals to me. I did a series of 10 decks with a very famous 80s pro, and 10? Yeah, and I gave him $20 a deck. It was only a series of 10, but if I had done 100 of those, they would have sold just as quickly, and he would have had $2,000. And that's my view of how to give respect to a pro. $20 per deck went to that pro. I won't name the pro right now because I don't want to get into a bunch of name droppings. But it was Bill Danforth, and I have 2 of those at my house that I paid for, and they were rad. They were super rad. Pioneers deserve much more than just recognition. Well, you know, that's interesting. I think one of the ways that we could attempt to rectify this is to reach out to Pat and reach out to the pioneers. Send them a message and tell them that you want to purchase things that support them really well, and ask them to get in touch with people who make things like me and others, and get something out there that's premium and that's not just like they're not just getting a little cut of. They should have they should have lines of memorabilia and skate products out. Like saying buy Pat No Hose board. Let's just take Pat for example, since he's forefront on this. You buy Pat No Hose board. I don't know how it's produced, where it's produced. I would expect that it's awesome and authentic. But what if Pat's board deal is with an outfit that gives him $2 a board? And what if they only make 300 of his boards a year? What if Pat is like so many other folks, stuck in a limbo where their contracts and their agreements and their product lines don't offer them anything, really? There's no hope for them to be supported in skateboarding, you know. And I think about it and I'm like, geez, you know, it's really tempting for me. I've only done one pro collab graphic, and it's really tempting to me to reach out to these guys and say, hey, look, I make you know, in light of the contributions of the people who came before me, and in light of this recent Red Bull thing where we really saw that as awesome as the event was, because skateboarding is awesome, that it really failed to deepen anyone's appreciation of these pros who came before us. You know, I'd like to, you know, do a premium product on premium pricing with super authentic, you know, blah blah blah, sell these things for $150 a pop and cut you $30 a deck, and do a run of 100 of them nationwide, and, you know, be able to do something really beautiful like that. Lots of pros, I've had pros turn me down. They're like, a skateboard should cost $45. And I have, you know, guys, I'm not dogmatic. There really is a place for the $45 skateboard, even the $35 skateboard. I have a skate shop near me that sells a board for $35 with grip, a deck. And I think that's terrific, because I love the kid who only has $40 in his pocket and still needs a burrito at the end of the day, and snapped his deck and wants to get another one. And I love that exists. I don't love its effect on our market. I don't love certain things that happen there, but I still love that skater, and I love that they can do that. But watching Pat last night, I was thinking, what is the rebuttal to Pat No Hose's position there? That someone might say, nah, man, it doesn't matter. All these old heads, they don't need credit. They had their chance. Now it's our chance. We're gonna use skateboarding's leverage to prop up energy drinks and shoe companies. We're gonna get that money. Sounds gross to me, any way I cut it. It does. That sounds gross. I just wanted to try it on this morning, and I think it's good for us to have a little longer discussion about things like this. Yes, Keith King comments, cheap decks should be outliers, not the standard. The problem with that, Keith, is that the cheap deck you're buying at your local skate shop is sold I'm going to take a specific example that's been going on in the Midwest for a long time. Bareback down in Tijuana makes all the boards that Generator sells. Generator sells those boards to our beloved Deluxe. And Deluxe runs one of the most historic and highest clout distros in the history of skateboarding. And they're in on every level. They're in the media. I don't even know where the tentacles go, but Deluxe is a big, big deal, for which I do not lack a certain respect. But Generator also calls up the local skate shops in the Midwest, or has for years. They may have stopped doing it a while back, because I actually went to Deluxe and had a chat about. Generator sells Deluxe wood to the skate shops, and the skate shops get to say over the counter, our boards are on Deluxe wood, which is such a strange arrangement. I can only imagine that Generator has Deluxe's permission to say this is Deluxe wood, but I have these very proud skate shop owners saying, yeah, I've got the hookup and my wood is on Deluxe wood. And they're saying it over the counter, they're saying it in conversation, and they're saying it on their websites. And I'm like, what a strange thing. So that $35 deck is the exact same product these shops claim, and the salespeople at Generator claim, as the $65 or $62 Pro deck. And the skaters have got this savage loyalty to their local shop, that's an admirable thing. Where's their savage loyalty to the people who, the fact is today, if I were not pressing boards for myself, and if I had the disposable money to just be collecting boards, I would be hunting down pros like Pat and the pros. I'd be hunting down their boards to collect so that I could support them, and I'd be spending top dollar to do it, because I want to be part of supporting the culture that supports me, that makes me what and who I am today. Frankly, I think you all know that I have a really, really strong love for Bill Danforth. I don't consider myself as much a fan of Bill Danforth as I do a friend of Bill Danforth. And he is one of my top favorite people. And my favorite people list is a little bit scandalous. I got accused of being a bad guy because one of my favorite people has been Jason Jesse, because I've seen skateboarding as the island of the lost toys, and Jason Jesse is a lost toy. Dwayne Peters is a lost toy, missing parts, broken, needing a community that's unconditionally accepting. I thought that's what skateboarding was when I came into it. When I skated in my crew, we had a preppy kid, we had a super punk kid, we had all kinds of people in my crew, and we enjoyed skating together, and it was completely. This was right before the street skating and hip hop became our strongest cultural, ethics. And the boastful self-proclamation of hip hop was what really changed. It really caused a clear delineation between us and them, in and out, on and off, and that's a true thing that happened in the late 80s into the 90s and then beyond, and we got a very strong, highly insulated culture after that. Skateboarding became, you had to have chops, you had to make your place. Before that, it was a come one, come all island of lost toys, punk rock wonderland. At the punk shows, you'd have preppy kids. I mean, really, it was the preppy kids who really didn't fit in to the skate aesthetic, but who were. It was insane to see how they did, because we got that. We didn't get a lot of jocks. The thinking was still pretty much jocks. Football team kids had a certain mentality, and we were the developing alternative. We were highly persecuted because of it, and that helped galvanize us as well. And I think it set us up for an us and them culture, a little stricter thing in the 90s. But I was musing on Pat Noho and thinking about how he, he represented a really good line of thought, and wondering what the balance was on it and how we could be balanced in our approach to it. But alas, it is time for me to load the bike and finish another cup of coffee, take a piss, and get on the road and see how far I get today. Frankly, I'm happy, I'm safe, and I'm pretty sick, but I don't think I have a fever, so I think we're good to go. Thanks for listening, and thanks for joining in. I'm in a little bit of a low spot on cell service, so some of your comments don't come through till after I get off, but thanks for your comments, and just musing about this. Also, if I could, I think board companies, truck companies, which don't really exist, the distros own the brands, and the distros work straight with the factories now. There aren't brands in the van like there used to be, and the brands don't touch production the same way they used to. Production is pretty far away, even when it's just across the border in Tijuana. I think a shining example of someone who does stay in touch with it is Paul Schmidt. Paul is sweet. What I don't want is the thing that happened with vans. I don't want that for skateboarding. I don't want there to be a kindly old gentleman who represents an era, but the shoes really suck now. And that, I'm gonna do a video about vans because October 2017 and now this year were 2 years where on a long trip my Vans shoes did something that has never happened to me in my life. They tortured my feet after being broken in and prepped. They tortured my feet and actually injured me because they changed fundamentally within like 2 weeks of wearing them. They became a whole different fitting shoe, and I have pretty good feet, and they crushed up my feet, and I actually blew my trip budget because I had to buy a pair of stronger shoes that aren't gonna bag out and become terrible or have those terrible seams inside them that fold over and create a pinky toe blister. And I'm a little bit miffed because I was in the shoe shop buying a pair of Nikes, and a bunch of guys who also love Vans for the history, they also came by and they were like, yeah, my last 2 pairs of Vans, my last 2 pairs of Vans. I mean, again and again at the Tampa Pro. And I thought, geez, Vanity Fair Corporation, we love Steve Van Buren, and we love the abandoned factory in California where it all started. Did you guys all catch that one? That was incredible, that ad. I mean, that ad is like an indictment of exporting our production in order to increase investors' bottom line at the cost of the fundamental value of the product. Tough stuff, because there are people involved and hearts involved, and I love Tony Trujillo. I want to buy his shoe, but yeah, Vans do suck anymore. It's terrible. They should rule, but instead the best skate shoes out there are Adidas and Nike. And why? Because Adidas and Nike are shoe companies that know they need to make really good quality shoes because they have a name to uphold. Vans got bought by a magazine. Can we just, Christopher Hitchens was the best thing Vanity Fair ever had. And from there on, they're just bagging out Vans like the shoes are bagging out on the second week I skate in them. I've only maybe twice in my life have I had bottom of the foot pancake blisters. See, I thought it was just me. My current pair have been starting to hurt the sides of my feet, and it's not your feet. I don't have a terribly wide foot. Etnies, Soltec is right out, Travis. I know too much about Soltec and its production to trust their glues. At least when I buy a pair of Converse, I know that I can fix the delaminating rand with cyanoacrylate glue as it starts to pop off. But with Nike, especially now, I've gone to a cup sole. With Nike, I know that Let's see here. Oh man, it's telling me to rotate my phone. With Nike, I know the glue is good. The rubber is consistently sourced. And with Soltec, you buy one of a shoe and you swear by it because of the pro's name on it, God bless them. And then you buy the next one and the sole wears through in like 2 seconds. On Vans, they're like, look for the little D on the rubber. That means it was sourced at this Chinese rubber plant. Look for the little M on the rubber on the sole. That's the good rubber. You know, these are all myths. You know, these are all like when the customer is doing that, you know that the brand has fundamentally failed the market. And we're just trying to stick with Vans. We love them. We love them. I've got a pair that I'm taking back home with me. And yesterday when I stopped and talked to the gentleman at the McDonald's, he was like, you even got a pair of Vans? I thought, I gotta hang a pair of Vans on my bike to identify myself as a skater with roots and wear Nikes to skate. It's tough, guys. It's not that tough though, because shake it off, go skateboarding, enjoy the moment, and we'll continue to play with these things and love one another no matter what our opinions are on it. We all belong. And Nike and Adidas both sell, depending on your foot, good fitting and durable shoes. Their glues, their rubbers, their construction, their uppers tend to be consistently durable and valuable. But I paid $110 out of my trip budget to get my feet taken care of. It took 4 of my trip days for my feet to stop being all chuffed. The sides of my feet were chuffed because of the, you know, on Vans, the terrible pinky toe seam, which if you treat the shoe right, doesn't fold over. And then 2 weeks in, it just folded over and started doing its pinky toe seam thing. Unbelievable how quickly that pair of shoes went from being a broken in good pair of shoes. Yeah, I love Travis Phillips here. I can't get behind Nike. I just can't get behind that. One of the greatest virals ever. The thing I really struggle about Nike is simply this. To me, Nike is not skateboarding. They're not skateboarding. They're shoes. If we had a balance to it, if the vast majority of money in skateboarding came from board manufacturers who made quality lumber. You know, in Europe they pay $100 for a Plan B deck. You know, the conversion on it. We haven't ratcheted up those prices, and if we did, we would demand higher quality, and if we did, we would get higher quality. And premium pricing and proper margins have just gone, you know, because of the investor pressure and the pressure to grow profits every year, blah, blah, blah. Yuck. It's greed, guys. Greed has ruined a lot of things. Happily, there are a lot of things that aren't ruined by greed, like wall rides. Wall rides can't be ruined by greed. They are rad no matter how you slice it. And we all win when we go skateboarding. And we all win when we go skateboarding together, even if we disagree about these things. But let's try not to hate each other for different opinions about these things. Where I come from, even having an opinion about these things is kind of verboten, you know. I kind of emerged as the guy with opinions way back in the day, and oh boy, spicy. But now I think we've normalized having opinions and having conversation, and I'm excited about it. Hey guys, you made my morning great. Eduardo da Silva, thanks for joining. I'm sorry I got to end the feed right here. Load up my motorboat and get on the open seas. Peace to everybody. Love ya. Catch you soon. Hi Mom, I love you.